Hi, this is Pat Ray and welcome to today's presentation, which is titled Petrol for the Day's Activities. So let me ask you a couple of questions. How many of you have tried to lose weight? How many of you have gone on some sort of restrictive diet? You know those diets, like the Atkins diet or the low carb diet or the Mediterranean diet or the cabbage soup diet, or even the lemon detox or low protein diet. How many of you have tried a diet like this in the past? How many of you suffer from information overload? All of these diets causing such a huge confusion. If I could remove all of your confusion, give you 7 simple steps that involves eating real food that you can start from today, that doesn't involve any diet pills or magic potions, does not involve taking any form of diet shake or counting calories. Would you like to hear more? So here's my 100% satisfaction guaranteed to you. I will, by the end of this presentation, remove all of your confusion. I will show you how all diets work, but only for some people. I will show you how one person's food is another's poison, and I will show you how you can work out what's right for you. But before we do that, I need to give you a quick Nutrition 101 lesson. Nothing too complicated, but very important for your understanding. So first of all, let's talk about macronutrients. So if you break the word in half, nutrients, obviously the things that you need to get. Macro stands for in large quantities. So we're going to talk about the things that you need to eat in large quantities to get all of your nutrients. The first thing we're talking about is carbohydrates. Now, there are 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate. They normally are starchy or sweet. And to give you an idea of what a carbohydrate is, think of something that comes from something without a set of eyes. For example, grains, cereals, pastas, rice, fruits, vegetables, all of those sorts of things come from things that don't have eyes, so they're a carbohydrate. The next macronutrient we're going to look at is fat. Now, fat has 9 calories per gram, and except for things like avocados, nuts and oils, they come from things with a set of eyes. You got your meats, your dairies, your proteins, your fish, avocados, nuts, oils, those sorts of things. They contain high levels of fat. And the last macronutrient we're going to talk about is protein. Now, protein also has 4 calories per gram, and except for avocados and nuts, they too also come from things with eyes. You got your fishes, your poultry, your dairy, beans, lentils, and all of your meats. So those are the macronutrients: proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. The question you need to ask yourself is what ratio of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats best suit your body type. Now, how do you work that out? Let me introduce to you Dr. Weston Price. Born in 1870, he passed away in 1948. Dr. Price was a dentist who spent 30 years studying ethnic races. He wanted to know why ethnic races who moved away from eating their traditional foods suffered severe tooth decay. And this is what he discovered. He discovered that there were 3 types of people, and he broke them down into protein type, mixed type, and a carbohydrate type. And to give you an example, if you have a look here, we have Inuit Eskimos, who are a race of people that he studied, and he learned that they were protein types. Then he studied South American Indians, and he learned that they were predominantly a carbohydrate type. And he also studied Polynesian races, and he learned that they were predominantly a mixed type. So what does that mean from a food consumption point of view? Well, this is what he discovered. Inuit Eskimos ate predominantly oily fish fat from whales and from the foods that was available to them. Those same South American Indians ate predominantly plant food, vegetables and fruits, very little protein in their diet. And Polynesians, well, they ate what they could get a hold of, again some fruits, a lot of seafood, and incidentally they ate a lot of protein in the form of eating each other, because Polynesians, until they were Christianized by the missionaries, were actually very cannibalistic. But how can this be? How can those races survive so well on small amounts of food types when we've been told that we need to be eating 6 to 8 servings of bread, cereals, rice and pasta, 3 to 5 servings of vegetables and fruits, 2 to 3 servings of meat and poultry, and very sparingly amounts of fats, oils and sweets? Well, the answer is this: the food pyramid is wrong. It has been designed for one type of person, which is why it works for one type of person. How can a race of Alaskan Eskimos eat no carbohydrates and be healthy? How can a race of South American Indians eat no fat and be healthy? And how can a race of Polynesians eat a combination of both and be healthy? The answer is very simple. The answer is evolution. We as a species evolved to eat and survive whatever it was that was available for us to eat. So how much protein did South American Indians have to eat? Chances are not a lot. So over hundreds of thousands of years they evolved to eat whatever they could get their hands on. And here lies the trouble. In the 21st century, with global colonization, we now have an abundance of food available to us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. We have foods that are available to us that were never available to our ancestors. And as a result, we are eating the foods out of whack with the ratio that we are specifically supposed to be eating. And that is how all of these diets work for a small portion of people. Because that Atkins diet that you tried, that low carb diet that you tried, that was actually a protein type diet. And the low protein diet that you've all tried, that was a carb type. And the Mediterranean diet pyramid, which some people succeed quite well on, that's actually a mixed type. So accidentally, those diets worked well for a small proportion of the population. Oh, and incidentally, here's what those ethnic races didn't eat until their tooth decay became very bad. They didn't eat white flour, they didn't eat white sugar, and they certainly didn't eat anything that came out of a box or a packet. They didn't eat processed foods. And one of the key findings of Dr. Weston Price's discovery was that when ethnic races moved away from their traditional foods and ate a Western style diet, that's when their health deteriorated. That's when they became obese, that's when they got sick, that's when they started to get cancers, and that's when they had poor tooth decay. So what does this mean for you? Well, it means that you actually have to change. You see, if you want to keep doing the same thing, you'll get the same result. So work out what macronutrient ratio best suits you. Eat those real foods that fit your ratio, which means eating right for your metabolic type. Now, incidentally, Dr. Price designed a metabolic typing self-test, a test that you can do to work out exactly which type you are, whether you're a protein type, a mixed type, or a carb type. And at the end of this presentation, I'll tell you how you can get your hands on that metabolic typing self-test. So, let me give you those 7 simple tips that I adhered to at the beginning of this presentation. Tip number 1, eat right for your metabolic type. That's a no-brainer. Tip number 2, it's very important that you eat breakfast. Number 3, learn to read labels. Eat real foods. I've created a category, real foods and food-like substitutes. Those are the things that are man-made that we have somehow or other completely stuffed in the processing. And as a result, we've turned a real food into a food-like substance. Eat more protein. Now, regardless of what metabolic type you are, I can guarantee that the bulk of you watching this presentation or listening to this presentation would not be eating enough protein to fit their metabolic type. So you may have to simply eat more protein. Tip number 6, eat more often. And the last thing I want to talk about, drink more water. How much water should you be drinking? Here's a quick formula to work out exactly how much water you need to be drinking. Take your body weight in kilos, multiply it by 0.033, and you will end up with a figure which is the amount of water you need to be drinking in litres per day. Then you just divide that figure by 6 to work out how many litres of water you need to be drinking by each meal. For example, a 100 kilo person needs to drink 3.3 litres of water per day, and that's not including the water that you will drink during exercise. So 3.3 litres of water may sound like quite a lot, but you break it down into 6 meals, that's 550 mils. That's 2 glasses of water. Not a lot of water to be drinking by each meal. Who of you would like to work out their own metabolic type? So I told you before that there's a metabolic typing self-test. If you would like to get your hands on that test, it's a questionnaire. All you need to do is send me your email address so I can email you the questionnaire to fill in. Then all you have to do is return to me the score sheet, and I will email you your metabolic type and a suggested meal plan. Very simple. Back at the beginning, I said I would promise to you that I would undo all of your confusion. I would explain to you why all diets work, but only for some people. How one person's food is another person's poison, and explain to you how to work out what's right for you. My question to you is, have I succeeded? Now, to reward you for listening to this presentation, I'd like to give you a copy of my free ebook, 10-Step Plan to Healthy Living. To do that, all you have to do is get in touch with me, give me your email address, and I will send you a link to where you can download my free ebook, 10-Step Plan to Healthy Living. My name is Pat Ray from Pat Ray Personal Training. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation or watching this presentation. If you'd like to get in contact with us, there's all our contact details. You can also connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and follow my videos on our YouTube channel.